Meat City, baby.
Hello and welcome back to Meat City Gaming. JD here with another 1000 Gamerscore report. And today we are covering Starfield. And before I get too much further, I do want to say this review is specifically focused on achievements and it is based on my playthrough experience. I know a lot of people are having a great time with this game. They are loving this game. And I can see the great game in there, but it is hidden pretty deep for me. And it is not very good with respect to the achievements. So this is an achievement-based review. Please keep that in mind. For Starfield, there are 50 total achievements that you need to get the 1000 gamer score. As of the time of this recording, there is no DLC, but I am sure it is planned. So at some point there will be expansions and add-ons and that number will go up. But for right now, 50 achievements to get that 1000 gamer score. There is no online component in terms of competitiveness or crossplay or multiplayer. You do have to be connected. I had this on Game Pass, so I think you have to be connected online to play it, but it is a single player game in terms of everything that you can get is based on story completion and story achievements. There's no outside game modes or competitive play or anything else that's required. It's all just playing through the story. Those story-based achievements, you can get everything done in one single playthrough of the story. The story is a little weird. I will stay far away from spoilers, but I will just say you should be able to unlock all of the achievements in one single playthrough of the game. However, that was not my experience due to the bugs. The bugs in this game are horrendous, again, at the time of this recording. And I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail later on. But if everything goes right, if there are no glitches, if there are no bugs, you can certainly get all 50 achievements in one playthrough. So what else is involved in these 50 achievements to get this 1000 gamer score? It's bad news here, guys. Almost everything that you hate in these kind of open world games is here, and it is cranked up to 11. It's the worst of its kind. Everything is grind, grind, grind. You have to grind levels. You have to travel to every single system in the game. You have to harvest hundreds and hundreds of resources. And again, all of it is just, it's tuned up to the extreme. So one example is you have to reach level 100 in order to unlock an achievement. And if you play through the story and you do all the side missions that are like the story-based side missions and even dip into some of the repeatable bounty boards and mission terminals and all those kind of things, you might get to level 35. You might get a third of the way. And so the rest of it is just mindless grinding. And it's like that for everything. Everything where you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's explore. It's this. It's level up. But it's not, because the amount of grinding that you have to do is insane. Are there any collectibles in this game? Kind of an interesting answer to that question. There's no strict collectible. There is an achievement where you have to pick up 20, they call them skill magazines. These are literally a magazine sitting on a desk in a room, and if you pick it up, it gives you a small bonus to your stats, which is kind of cool. You need, I think, 20 of them, and they're just scattered all over. There's far more than 20, so you don't need to really exhaustively track down each one and find a list, but they are very small, and so it's easy to miss them until you start to see enough of them where you get the pattern and say, oh, I'll bet there's a magazine in here, and then you spend 2 minutes kind of hunting for it, and you'll find it. And if you don't, then it's just going to like itch at the back of your brain. Like, I know there's one in here. Where is it? But once you get that 20th one and you unlock the achievement, it's a great weight off your shoulders, because then you don't have to worry about hunting them after the fact. So is it a collectible? Kinda, sorta. It's not too bad. Of all the achievements, of all the difficulties in unlocking these achievements, I would rate this one pretty low on the scale. The most annoying achievement in the game, it could be that reach level 100 achievement that I mentioned earlier. That's reach for the stars. Again, it's so grindy. Crafting is kind of the best way to get XP, the most efficient way to get XP. And the crafting experience, you set up outposts in order to gather resources, which is cool. I like the outpost building mechanic, but the actual crafting is super boring. It's just repetitive clicking and standing in front of a terminal, and it stinks. And then when you make the stuff through crafting to try and sell it, also stinks, because you have weight and you can't carry so much of it. And then when you get to a vendor, you can only sell so much because they only have so many credits. And just everything about this is, again, just more of a slog than it needs to be. The other one that I think is actually the most annoying achievement, and again, this kind of depends on your luck and how organized you are going into it, is the stars my destination. This requires you to visit every single star system in the game. There's 120 of them, and that by itself wouldn't be so bad. There's this really beautiful star map, and it's kind of 3D, and it rotates, and you can see the stars, and then you can click on it and go to it, and all that doesn't sound too bad. There's even a way to visually identify if you've been to star systems or not. When you're on the map, they're kind of brighter in their glow if you've been to that star system and more dull if you haven't. So why is this the most annoying achievement? Well, they take, again, what could be a very cool system and then they ruin it because some of those stars have multiple systems. Like there's one clickable icon, one star, but it's 2 star systems. And then you have to pick the drop down of star system alpha or star system beta. And if you visited alpha, the stars lit up, and you might not have visited beta, and you can't tell because it's 1 star representing both. And so, if there was, all you would need to have is just like a list, an alphabetical list that you could use instead of or in addition to this weird 3D map. And if I could just go down the list and go to Alpha Centauri, and then Beta Centauri, and then the C planet, and then the D system, and then the E system, and just work my way through, it wouldn't be so bad. But as it is, you have to hunt and peck and move around and then click on this one. And, oh, did I visit this one? I don't know. So I'll jump into it and then I'll back out and then I'll go to the next one and then I'll back out. Oh, my counter didn't go up. I guess that wasn't it. And it's just, there's no grid. There's no layout. It's just sloppy and random. And so, yeah, I spent 40 minutes hunting for the last 2 star systems that I was missing. I was almost at the point of, I'll just start a second playthrough and be very careful and do all of my star systems in a certain order so that I can track them. I almost got there. Thankfully, I found the last one I was missing as I was pulling the last hair out of my head. So just, again, they took something and they went with the visually impressive mode instead of the functional aspect of gameplay. The hardest achievement, again, this is going to vary from person to person, but based on my playthrough, it was executive level. And I'm going to put some big old air quotes around this one. And why do you say that? Well, because for you, this mission may not be that big of a deal. But for me, it was a big deal because it bugged out. I got to, this is a long mission chain. There's like 4 faction quest chains in the game. They're probably the highlight of the game in terms of story and gameplay and interactivity and all that. One of these, and they're all long chains, so you could do like 9, 10 missions, and you get 3 achievements for each of them along the way, 1 at the very end for completing the mission chain. I was at 98% completion of this mission chain, and it bugged. All I had to do, I completed the big hard thing, the infiltration, and then I just had to report it to somebody to tell the NPC, hey, I did the thing. The NPC bugged. He ended up in the middle of a lake and was unreachable and wasn't where he was supposed to be. And this is common. People know about this. It's a known bug. The only way to correct this is to start a new game. You can't fix it. You can't go back. You can't rewind the mission. You can't abort the mission. You can't reset the NPC. You're done. Forget it. You have to start a whole new playthrough and do that quest chain all over again. So that was infuriating of a bug in order for me to have to redo a whole playthrough just to get that achievement. And it got worse. So then on my second playthrough, I went and just did this quest chain, got past it. Thankfully, the NPC worked this time, turned it in. I got to 99%. And one of the very last things you have to do is attend a meeting. Yeah, thrilling stuff. But in order for the meeting to start, you have to sit in a chair. So you walk up to the chair and tell your guy to sit in it. That bugged out for me 4 times. I had to fast travel away to get the chair to work. It was almost another quest-breaking bug in the same quest, which would have required another playthrough. This was infuriating, and the bugs were not limited to these chains, but they were also in these chains. Bugs were everywhere in this game. It ruined the experience for me, and it also ruined the achievements for me because, again, requiring a second playthrough to fix a bug in a quest chain is unforgivable. So with all that said, we come to the final verdict for the achievements in Starfield. And yeah, it's bad news. It's a 2 out of 10, and I think that's being generous. The fact that you have broken quests, broken achievements tied to bugged interactions and NPCs, and the only way to correct those bugs, to get those achievements, is to do a whole second playthrough to get that quest line going again is absolutely unforgivable. The only way it could be worse is if they were glitched achievements where you did complete it and it just didn't unlock and there was no way to fix it. This is slightly better than that, so they're getting some credit. And then on top of that, all the non-broken achievements, they're just grindy and boring and terrible, and everything takes too much monotonous, repetitive gameplay. There's not enough focus on the fun, interesting aspects of the game, because there are some there, they're hidden, they're under the surface, but the achievements certainly do not highlight them. So this was a very bad experience for me in terms of getting this 1000 gamer score for Starfield. So I think someday this will be a good game, and a lot of people still enjoy the game even in its current stage. If this is the kind of game you like, go for it, but just be aware, getting the 1000 gamer score for the achievements for this game could be quite a ride. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.